What's good, YouTube? Stormybman back with another video editorial, this time highlighting the significance of boxing trainers. First off, I'd like to say shout out to the LDBC, Lions Den boxing community, new media, and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. As the boxing world goes, trainers and their significance is often overlooked by the stars of the sport. The physical athletic abilities and the exciting shows that they display, the athletes who are participating. People often get behind these gentlemen and understand that the excitement that they generate is why they like to spend the money on the tickets for the events. Often overlooked is the cornerman, the role that he plays in preparing his pupil for the show that you see when the lights go on. The best of these men are always placed either side by side with the participant of the sport or sometimes overshadowing because of the Yoda-like experience that they seem to bring to each and every one of their subjects' corner. The subtle nuances of being able to execute the finer points of the sweet science in today's boxing world seem to be a lost art. Fighters being able to protect themselves, stay out of harm's way, all the while executing tactical game plans that put them in the best position to win. These strategies are developed in the gym with the cornerman. Throughout the history of boxing, there have been great cornermen such as Eddie Futch, Georgie Benton, Ray Arcel. The list goes on and on. Cus D'Amato. We have Angelo Dundee, Nacho Beristain. All of these coaches have had pupils and subjects who have gone very far in the sport and have made names for themselves, but not would have achieved the fame and luster and accomplishments if they were not for the strength of these cornermen who were able to teach them the finer points of their craft. That's why this video is being made, to acknowledge the cornerman. When a fighter enters a match, he has to be prepared for whatever the guy across the ring from him brings. This is not lost on that cornerman, who should always be studying the opponent, what his strengths and weaknesses are, as well as what is most dangerous about that opponent and how his fighter can capitalize or take away that athlete's strengths. Venerable coach of Hall of Fame heavyweight champion Joe Louis, Jack Blackburn, came into the sport after a stellar career of his own, where he was a great lightweight boxer who had engaged in over 160 professional fights from 1901 to 1923, was able to teach Joe Louis the nuances of proper footwork, balance, how to block, parry, counter, and made Joe Louis a tremendous champion by the tactical and subtle physical movements in the ring that to this day on film look so precise it made Joe Louis the successful fighter he was. These type of aspects that a fighter is able to bring to a ring match are often overlooked, but you see the finished result and you are enamored with how a fighter is able to execute and perform at the top of his ability, at the height of the sport. We often don't care how the vehicle runs with what's under the hood. We just want it to press the gas and go. But it's that trainer who provides the mechanics of that engine to go down the road in boxing. The trainer has the responsibility of being the third eye in the ring for the fighter. He's the motivator, where we have seen that countless times with fighters like Sugar Ray Leonard, with the likes of Angelo Dundee in his corner, and Jenks Morton. They being able to motivate their fighter because they knew his spirit, keep him going, keep him engaged, keep him on top of his game and focused. We've had fighters who have had cornermen who were counselor to them in the ring and in the corner, where you had fighters like Roberto Duran, who paired with the great Ray Arcel, being able to convince Duran that as long as his hair was in place when he started every round, that it gets on the other fighter's nerves and have him discombobulated, where he's thinking about how nice and fresh the guy is looking as he's coming in for war. You've had also psychologists who worked in their fighter's corner. Cus D'Amato with Floyd Patterson and Mike Tyson, being able to get into the psyche of their fighters to get them to perform and bring out the talent that they had within. These aspects of these trainers are often overlooked and are even lessened today because the trainers are actually focusing more nowadays on physical exertion and maybe your conditioning. But what about the self-preservation and the inner conditioning, developing the fighter from the inside? That's what's missing today. The sheer basics and technique of boxing is becoming a lost art. Trainers would often teach fighters of yesteryear why to keep your hands up at all times, why to position your hands in a way and manner of which you can execute defense as well as offense simultaneously with spontaneity. Today you have a lot of fighters keeping their hands low, their chins up, their feet spread wide apart, too far apart, where they are often off balance. The significance of not allowing your chin to go before your front knee. Those things are becoming such a widespread acknowledgement. You can see why fighters are not as good as they once were. Fighters are not learning how to fight, but they're put in positions where they take on challengers that they can beat. Trainers used to put fighters in with opponents who could test them and take them to different levels, where in a particular fight you may be fighting a guy who can extend you rounds, because rounds are important. It's important for your psychological being as well as your physical conditioning. You have to get comfortable in the ring. Getting out of the ring in a round or two doesn't bode well when you get at the championship level. because you don't have the solid footing or foundation of being taken into a deep competitive match. Fighters being able to learn under fire through development of selected opponents where a guy could take your best shot. So what do you do when a guy doesn't go down from taking your best shot? Fighters learn how to take shots, or if you happen to get dropped, what do you do when the pressure's turned up on you? How to handle it under fire. It was the Cornerman who taught you these things in the gym, so that when the lights went on, you were prepared. And like people like to say now, your toolbox is full and complete. We're not seeing enough of that, which is why some champions aren't enduring of today. They don't last because their tanks and their toolboxes are not full. They're half or nearly empty. Becoming a complete fighter is also associated with a complete toolbox. Being able to think, being able to respond, being able to react and not react, understanding your place in the ring, having confidence, also knowing where you are in a fight. All of that comes from the lead of a good quality coach. When quality coaches are able to pass on these subjects, for lack of a better word, at the moment, a fighter can be confident in what he's facing. And that's where the counselor aspect of a coach comes in, because being able to have an exchange in between rounds, the coach can give the fighter 2 or 3 instructions for the following round. He doesn't have to say a great deal, but he gives him 2 or 3 points, because out of the 3, one of them the fighter can definitely grasp and be able to execute or maintain in his memory as he goes back into the fray. Today's fighters find themselves in the corner, and the cornerman is giving them so much information and everything, so he goes out and he appears that he's not even listening to his cornerman, because he doesn't have key points. The key points are something that a fighter can zero in on and focus in a manner of which, if he does simply that, he'll have some success. Great trainers were always able to do that. Emmanuel Stewart, they were able to get a guy to focus on exactly what I need you to do. Okay? So, with that being said, these are more keys as to what a good trainer can do for a fighter. And a trainer that is working with his fighter very closely, he doesn't have to lie to his fighter, because everything that he gives him in the gym, when he brings it on fight night, they've developed a rapport where there's confidence in one another. That's also where the protector comes in. The protector aspect of a trainer, able to take care of his fighter under duress. Okay? Knowing how to handle a referee, knowing how to handle illegal tactics, knowing how to handle when the fighter has faced some dire circumstances, cuts, knockdowns, okay? Or even if his fighter has hit that wall where it may be time to pack it in. A good trainer knows these things, and he knows that they're always on the horizon at any given time. Take legendary coach Eddie Futch for an example. In the Thriller in Manila, going into 15th round, in between rounds, Futch stopped the fight because Joe Frazier could no longer see out of his eye. And he was compassionate enough to see that his fighter, in a thrilling match, could actually get seriously hurt. And he relented. He gave the fighter a chance to come back another day. But this is his quote. "Boxing is a science. You don't just walk into a gym and start punching. Fighters are born with differences in physical ability, but you also see a big difference in their skills. That's the trainer's influence at work." From Eddie Futch, Hall of Fame trainer. It is coaches with this type of acumen that can make a difference in a fighter's career. Whether you're a prospect starting out, a fighter that's in the midst of a career, or a fighter that's in an extended career that wants to make changes. It can make the difference in your success and also your self-keeping and well-being. This is Stormybman. This is all I have for you at this time. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Until the next time we see each other, peace.